weak internet connection or signal. Yeah, I'm just started recording the class. This is PIN233 section 3 on September the 3rd. And this is the first class of the second semester. So I'm just started to record the session. Thank you, Daniela, for the heads up.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Are you seeing the syllabus now?
Yes.
Yes. All right. A little bit larger. So I'm going to be in charge of sections 2 and 3. Mrs. Santos is going to be in charge of section 1. This course, it's going to be, there's going to be co-teaching with Sofia Antiquera. I'm going to give this part of the class for Sofia to introduce herself. And then you can ask her any questions that you might have, all right? So, Sofia, could you introduce yourself, explain the reason why you are here? And,
Sure, yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
I will turn on my camera so you can recognize my face. Yes. Well, my name is Sofia. I'm a 5th year student, and I will be helping you this semester with this module, so I hope we all learn together. Also, I want to apologize in advance because I have a dog and he has separation anxiety and he barks a lot. So if I have my mic on and he's barking, that's my dog. And yes, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you so much, Sofia.
Also, I will write down my email on the chat box so you can send me a message if you need anything. That's it.
Okay, so the idea is that now you can ask Sofia some questions. Feel free to ask. Please be gentle, okay? So ask Sofia questions that might help you to know her better, right?
I don't know if you have any questions.
I think I will have, not now.
You will have in the future?
Yes.
That's fine. That's fine. My email is in the chat box, so you can send me an email in case you need anything. Also, you can find me on Facebook in the group of the program. So yes, in case you need anything, that's where you can find me.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. No one else? I don't think the questions need to be related to phonetics. I think the teacher was trying to make you ask me something to get to know me, but if you don't have questions, that's fine.
How is 5th year?
That's my dog. Can you hear it? Okay. 5th year is fine. You don't have like the biggest difficulty you have to face. It's the practicum process, and with all the coronavirus and everything, it's kind of difficult to work in schools. So that's why we some of us were assigned to work in the program with the professors. That's why some of us students of 5th grade are working in different modules. Some of them you may find them in communicative competences. I will be taking 2 modules of phonetics, so it's kind of complicated, but it's gonna be fine. You will get there.
Great.
I hope so.
Yeah. Don't worry, you will. Nothing else?
How are you doing with the practicum stuff? Are you doing online classes?
Well, this is my practicum process. Like I'm going to do my practicum with you. So that's
okay.
yeah, that's kind of different, but it's a good experience because in order to teach in universities, most of the times you need to have like like higher level of education, not only the university degree. So it's a good experience while I don't have the magister. Yeah. Nothing else.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
we are going to try to help you in your
Thank
practical
you.
process.
That would be great. That would be amazing.
No more questions?
Apparently, no.
Thank you for the ones that asked things.
Okay. Because as Sophia mentioned, this is her practicum experience, and she's going to be co-teaching with me at some point. I'm going to be in charge at some point. She is going to be in charge, and many times we're going to be sharing in the same room with you. So maybe some of the methodology that we're going to be using could be to divide the group in two or more, right? So as to provide more feedback to everyone. Okay. And then we go, if there are no more questions, to the syllabus. Okay. I'm sure if there are more questions, they will come later. And this is syllabus. It's in the LMS, so I want you to take a look at it whenever you can. All right, take a look at the syllabus, particularly in connection to what's required from you. Let's talk about the evaluations. As you can see, they are quite similar to the ones that we had last semester, or that we had in general in the previous course, the one called PIN233, the one that deals with segmental features, right? And that's the main difference from this course and the previous one. The previous one deals with segmental information, meaning it deals with sounds, individual sounds. And this course deals with supersegmental features of the language, right? And that's very important to remember because what was built the previous course serves as a basis for this course. In terms of, let me skip some of the aspects that I'm sure you're going to read later, but this is interesting. The first content that we're going to read that is part of this course has to do with rhythm, the syllable, word stress, weak forms, and accentuation. Okay, you will have, or you will see in the third column, the readings. I sent a link to the LMS in which you can find a digital folder, so you will have access to these readings. And you have to take a look at the pages to guide this process. Sometimes you will have to choose whether you read car or roach, because sometimes you will find almost the same information in each one of the texts, okay? The second major topic, right, has to do with features of connected speech. So the features of connected speech have to do with actual speech, the way that speakers actually use the language. And therefore, when we transcribe the conversations, when we transcribe the samples, the linguistic samples, you will have to address the transcription very realistically. For example, if the speaker says Ghana, you're going to transcribe Ghana and not going to. If the speaker says don't you, that's what you're going to transcribe and not don't you. Okay, so that's a big difference from the previous course, the one that deals with segmental information. Okay. The next topic after the first assessment week, I need to revise the dates because they were sent after I uploaded this to the LMS, has to do with intonation. And in terms of intonation, we will see tone, tonicity, and tonality, as well as the functions and features of intonation. Whenever you use intonation, you're basically conveying a lot of information. Really? 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 So different intonation will have an impact on the way that your answer is perceived as a positive judgment, for instance, or as a negative comment. So intonation is part of several languages, actually. So I want you to make comparisons and associations with what happens in Spanish, so you can see if there are similarities or actually it's quite different. And the last content that we're going to be dealing with is called variations in English accents. And it's this concept of understanding English as in an international language, trying to go beyond just the more accepted dialects, meaning RP and General American, but understanding the concept of world Englishes. So people use English as a vehicle to communicate with other cultures. So you can speak to someone whose native language is Italian, Japanese, or French, and all of them are going to have accents because all of us do have an accent. Okay, and I really don't think that accent reduction is going to be at any point the objective of this class, but to embrace your accent and see if you can improve some sounds that are or maybe affecting communication, and understanding that sometimes it's not the sounds, but sometimes it's what could be considered suprasegmental features that's affecting communication. Okay, so so far I can tell you that there's some reading to do here, and I can tell you that at some point you're going to be taking the leading role, because in the section of features of connected speech, there will be some presentations that you are going to provide so as to peer teach your classmates. Okay, we will have some sort of structure for your class, but you're taking a leading role as to develop these pedagogical skills that are required to graduate from this program, right? So hopefully this course will not only try to make you improve pronunciation, but also your pedagogical skills. And the same thing in the section called Variations in English Accents. At some point in this mini project, right, you will revise an English accent, a type of English, and you will probably investigate, do some research about specific elements of this accent. What kind of vowel sounds, what kind of intonation this specific English accent uses, or speakers particularly use. Okay, so the idea is that you're not just receiving information, but also actively engaging in activities that can help you to gain not only content, but practice with this. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, I want you to type one question from the previous course contents. Okay, for example, questions like what is a phoneme, or how can you identify a phoneme? Define a minimal pair and provide examples. Describe the initial sound in the word seek. Describe the final sound in the word stay. Okay, I want you to type, each one of you, type one question in the chat room, and we're going to use those questions as a way to make this sort of diagnostic activity. Okay, so you will have 5 minutes now to type in the chat room one question that is connected with segmentals, is connected with phonemes, vowel sounds, etc., etc. Okay? We're going to use these questions, as I said before, as a matter of, and it's not going to be a quiz. Do not be scared. They're going to be part of our conversation. Okay? So we're all going to build this or refresh our memories about these concepts. Okay? So 5 minutes to write questions. Any questions before we start? So just to be sure, Javiera de la Fuente, are you here? Are you present?
Yes, I'm here. I write that question because I understand something related to that.
Perfect. So I think the instruction is clear, but can you rephrase the instruction?
We have to write some questions regarding the classes of the previous semester.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, excellent. So 5 minutes, guys. It's 5:22, 5:27. All right. Clock's ticking.
Teacher,
Yes, sir.
I was trying to get into the class. I was having some issues with my account. Uh, they they um they said that my account was blocked. So I just log in right now to the class. Uh, I don't know why my account was blocked. Something weird happened, but I'm sorry for being late.
No, don't be Ignacio. That you're fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you, teacher. You are
Alrighty. No problem. So far we have Javiera de la Fuente, Constanza, Javiera, Esteban, Karen, Joana, Fanny, and Camila Aguilar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 questions, all right. We still have 4 minutes. 2 minutes. One minute. All right, time stop. So let's take a look at some of the questions. Sophia, would you like to choose one of the questions?
Sure. The one that Margaret did. What is the difference between plosive and affricate consonants?
Perfect. Let me find it in the chat. The difference between plosive and affricate.
Yes, it's almost at the end.
Okay, got it right here. Okay, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. All right. So before we discussed the difference, when we say plosive and affricate consonants, what do we mean? Are we talking about voicing, manner of articulation, place of articulation? What are we dealing with when we talk about plosive and affricate?
Manner of articulation.
All right. All right. And what is manner of articulation?
It is how the air affects in the way that we are producing the sounds.
That's right. Exactly. How the airstream is affected, right? And in this sense, when we refer to a plosive sound, how is the airstream or airflow affected in the production or articulation of a plosive sound?
That question is for me.
It's an open question, actually. Anyone, yeah, anyone can answer the question. It's a friendly conversation. Let's say, can we give some examples in which we can hear a plosive sound? Anyone has some examples?
Boat.
Uh-huh.
Did you say plosive?
Yes, examples for plosive sounds.
Like picture?
Uh-huh. Exactly. Picture. And then we have what Javiera mentioned, right? She mentions p and t as two plosive sounds, exactly. All right, so exactly, p, t, k, g, b, all of them are, and d, right? All of them are plosive sounds. And in this sense, they are plosive or stops, right? Because the airflow is blocked for a moment of, for a period of time, and then is released in a burst of air, as an explosion. So that's mainly a description for a plosive sound. And some of them are aspirated. For example, if you think about p, t, and I'm going to add to what Javiera mentioned, k, they are voiceless plosive sounds, and in initial position and at the beginning of stressed syllables, they are aspirated. When I say aspirated, um, I mean something. Does anyone understand the concept of aspiration? Can anyone explain it? So aspiration implies the burst of air that is produced when you are releasing the air or the airflow, was in the production of, for example, pet or ton or coin. So when you're producing these sounds in initial position, there is an extra amount of airflow, therefore, this is a feature that is present in English. I challenge you to find a word in Spanish that we can use, and that we say, aspirated. For example, we don't say tengo tiempo, right? We don't say tengo tiempo. We don't make plosive sounds. I mean, if you do, is actually that we're actually making a transfer of the sounds. So that's not something that we do in Spanish, right? Now, let me fix this. I'm sorry, there's an issue here. Okay, can you hear me now? I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay. Okay. So the aspiration is present in English. It's not present in Spanish, and is usually present in voiceless plus sound in initial position. Now let's say that we talk about affricate sounds. What's an affricate sound? How do you understand it? Do you have any examples?
Check.
Okay, check.
Church.
Church, excellent.
Judge. Jam.
Judge, jam, all right. All right, very good examples. Because how many affricate sounds do you remember there are?
2.
Exactly, just 2. And the 2 of them were in the examples you gave, right? How do we produce an affricate sound? Does anyone remember when we say church, ch, ch, or when we say jeans or jam, j, j, j? What are we doing? What's happening in the oral cavity? If we can explain it using technical slang or technical language.
We start with a block of the air when we're going to produce the sound in this case.
Exactly, that's right. That's right. We block the air, and after we block the air, what's going on in the oral cavity?
That full block of air into a partial block of the air.
Exactly. Well, we block the air partially because we release the air at some moment, right? So we can see the production of an affricate sound as the combination of a plosive plus a fricative. It's like joining a plosive and a fricative right after it. So you block the air partially and you let it go. And you let it go not freely, but causing some friction, all right? If you do this in a slow motion, it's like, I mean, try to say church in a slow, I know it's difficult, but if you try, church, right? Or jeans. Therefore, after the partial block, there is a release of the air, but not at ease, but still causing friction. That's why it's good to think about this combination of first a plosive, because we block the air, and then we release the air, causing some friction. That's important to remember. And I would say that the closest sounds in terms of comparing the English and the Spanish sounds are the plosive sounds, right? Because in Spanish we have p, we have t, we have k, b, d. We do have them, right? And the affricate sounds, we have ch as in Chile, chicha, chomba, chala, but j, j, I don't know. Do we have j? I mean, we say, or yeah, people say blue yin, but it's not blue jean, right? In the name Jennifer, j, j, right? Gin and tonic. If you have people buy and drink, they would say gin, right? So that's interesting element from the previous course, right? To describe how consonant sounds sound, right? And the way we can describe them from the articulatory phonetics point of view. Let's choose another question. Does anyone, can anyone choose a question? Maybe Sophia again?
Sure, if no one else wants to pick one, I can do it.
I mean, we can ask another.
Yeah, maybe someone wants to do it. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Pablo Núñez.
Yes, Professor, I'm here.
Yes, Pablo, could you choose a question? It could be yours or a different one.
Yes, of course. So give me a second. Can you hear me well? If I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Well, my question was, what is the difference between phonetics and phonology? Well, if I'm not wrong, phonology is about the patterns of the sound. How can I explain this? The different ways in what in the different language can be spoken. And phonetics, I think, is with the production of the speech sounds by humans. It's because, well, I don't know how can I explain this pretty well, to be honest. I'm trying to figure it out how, but one of the yeah, that's my question. I don't know how can I answer that in a better way. I know that phonetics is the
yeah.
transmission.
But Pablo,
That's all.
yeah, Pablo, you were doing quite well. You were doing quite well. So yeah, I think you just need to take it easy because you were doing really, really well.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of
really, really well.
nervous because I'm not really sure about the all the stuff I'm saying. But yeah, that's the thing that that's what I know. That's what I know. What I said. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's someone that can help me. I don't know, to make a complete sentence.
Sure, I think you were in the right path. Phonetics is a scientific. It's just the scientific study of sounds or speech sounds, right? And it's important to remember that phonetics not only deals with what happens in English, but in several languages.
Yes.
And it's got to do with all the process of the production of sound from the moment that a person articulates a sound. The sound travels as a sound wave, right? And then the sound is received, right, by a listener, and all the process is covered or investigated by first the articulatory phonetics, then the acoustic phonetics, and then the auditory phonetics, because all these three sub branches deal with the sound production at different stages. Okay, yeah, mainly the articulatory phonetics was the one we covered last semester. We didn't have anything related to the auditory phonetics or the acoustic phonetics, which is something that is covered in many other universities is in just one single course. So we mainly focused on describing these sounds from the point of view of articulatory phonetics. So phonetics is very general, studying sounds in general. But as you mentioned, right, really well, phonology deals with more
organization?
specific, exactly, the organization, the distribution, what is allowed and what is not allowed in a language. For example,
Mr.
yeah, so go
Can we
ahead.
consider phonology a subcategory of the phonetics? Can we? It's like the phonetics is the general concept, and phonology is one of the I don't know. It's an extension of it. I don't know.
It has a different focus. I would say that phonetics is a sort of a sub branch phonetics. I would say that the focus of research or the focus of the study is different. So phonology, as you mentioned, deals with how these sounds, for example, out of the 100 sounds that phonetics studies, which ones are used in English, which ones are used in Chinese, which sounds are used in Spanish. That's what phonology deals with. And these sounds that are, for example, out of the 100, only, I don't know, 40 are used in one language. Okay. Now, how are they organized? Which combinations are allowed and which are not? For example, we don't start words in Spanish with s, followed by t, and followed by that's what you can find in English. You can find words like strange or strict or stroll. In Spanish, the combination is not allowed, right? We usually start words with a vowel sound. We can say estrella, tante, estoico. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
so these combinations are what you said. How sounds are organized and in which way they are distributed. That's what phonology deals with. So phonology is more specific to a language. Phonetics is more general, sounds or speech sounds in general.
I see.
So that's a
Thank you,
very
mister.
good
It's
question.
pretty clear.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
I mean, when I was studying, it wasn't clear for me. So that's so, but that's something to remember. Phonetic is very general, studies all sounds that we human beings produce, but phonology deals with more specific aspects and the way that sounds are used in specific languages. Yeah, that's the idea. Thank you so much, Pablo.
Thank you, mister. Thank you for the explanation. Was pretty useful.
Thank you. So, do we have another question? We have a very interesting question.
Yes, I have a question. That to be honest, I had to read aloud in one of the speakings, and to be honest, it was kind of difficult to me to understand. And it was what Daniela did. What is rhotic accent? It's kind of difficult to me to understand it. And
All right.
even I Googled it, and it wasn't pretty clear to me, so I don't know.
All right. So that's a good question. What is a rhotic accent? Does anyone have any idea? It doesn't matter if you're not sure. Just explore. Don't be afraid of stepping on unknown ground.
I have an idea about that.
Sure.
About the
Yes,
rhotic
please.
accent. When
Mhm.
you speak with the R, but with a strong R, like rhotic. I can't think any word with R.
Yeah.
I was remembering something about that rhotic accent because when that when the rhotic accent came up in the speaking task, I asked for help, and then my mom said like if you say star with the R like very hard like she said before, instead of star like British. And I mean that's the difference. I think that star, when you say star with a strong R at the end, I think that is rhotic accent maybe. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
Uh,
You're right. And Fanny is also right. It's got to do with the production of an R sound. Um, for example, there are many varieties of English, many different accents in the same country. For example, in United States or say in Britain, there are some varieties which are called rhotic varieties and others called non-rhotic varieties. And basically, the difference is what you're all mentioning, the production of our sound, usually at the end. So when you say car, car, uh, you're saying this using a rhotic variety. And if you say car, I'm going by car, you're not using the final therefore that would be a non-rhotic variety. Now, some non-rhotic varieties use the final R anyway when they are linking two vowel sounds. So when you say, for example, car, and you say and a car and a train, so the final would link car and and, right? So a car and a train, car and a train. So these non-rhotic varieties which do not produce this final would produce it when the would serve at the purpose of linking these vowel sounds. So we have to be very, very careful to define that a non-rhotic variety would not use at all a sound because most of them, most of these non-rhotic varieties use a final to link, or and it's called linking or linking r, some people call it. Okay, now when you refer to a strong sound, probably you're referring to a concept which is called or a sound which is called trill, 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 trill. The trill is the name for this sound that we have in Spanish. When you say raton, rio, risa, rosa, you produce this right, which is called trill. And trill is this rapid movement or flapping of the tongue, which is quite difficult for some speakers. It is a difficult sound for English speakers. It is an almost impossible sound for some Eastern languages like Japanese or Chinese. So that is some sound which is also used in some English varieties up there in Ireland or Scotland. So they use this trill, and I don't know, bring the beer, bring the horse. They will use this trill as well, and it's going to be found in specific varieties of English. But when you say a strong R, you're probably referring to this particular trill, trill, which is one way of pronouncing. It's sort of an allophone, right? For example, I'm thinking about the word writer, right? Writer, and writer, right? Writer. So probably a trill and a flap, not probably, a trill and a flap might be allophones of the sound Now, an allophone is a different realization or a variation of one sound that does not change the meaning of a word. Okay, I would like to point out that butter, butter, writer, writer. So in these cases, we're using allophones or different variations of one sound that which are not changing the meaning. Okay, remember the concept of allophone, which is quite useful to understand that at some point speakers use a different sound, but which does not alter the meaning. That's what an allophone is basically. Okay, so yes, rhotic has to do with the production of usually at the end of a word. But a non-rhotic variety of English, or a variety in which speakers do not produce this final is not always like that 100% of the times, because when they are linking, usually vowel to vowel, they are going to use it. Okay, non-rhotic, no final most of the cases. Rhotic variety, speakers do produce a final That's a good question. I'm sorry you didn't manage the question before, Pablo. It is an interesting question, though, because it talks about the different accents and varieties of English. And it has an impact on understanding, comprehension, right, and communication. I think I don't want to abuse of your patience. So if it's okay for you, we can have a 10-minute break. Is that okay with you? Yeah?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, so can we have a 10-minute break, and then we are going to be answering more questions, but hopefully more of you will be interacting, because that's the idea. All right.
Okay.
So,
Bye bye.
okay. Alrighty.
Okay.
So, in 10 more minutes, enjoy your break. I'll see you around.
See you around, mister.
Alrighty.
Yeah.